Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. Roma 1, Sassuolo 0. We we continue to grow, we continue to get points, we continue to put pressure on Bologna, and just to continue like this, we continue in fighting to get Champions League football, which is our primary objective this season. And who did it today? No Dybala. Well, Pellegrini performed like Dybala. From the 20th of January, since the 20th of January 2024, 4 days after Mourinho got sacked, from the 20th of January to now, Pellegrini is the second player after Phil Foden in the entire of European competitions to have scored more goals. That's big because he's in our team. That's big because he's back. And people doubted him. People criticized him. People hated him because people blamed him responsible for Mourinho being sacked. People prepared banners against him, displayed in front of Trigoria, calling him the weak ring after Mourinho left his ring as a sign of protest in Pellegrini's locker. And today he responds as the Lord of the Rings, because these stats and these records are not made up. These stats and record are from the books. They are real, and Pellegrini is, again, let me emphasize this, my captain. My captain decides what is a very complicated game, what has been a very complicated game, because today's game has not been an easy game. You know, people link Sassuolo to weakness, people link Sassuolo to relegation, and you're absolutely right. Sassuolo are 19th in the league, and they have a big chance of going down with their big player being injured, Berardi. But look, just because that is Sassuolo doesn't mean that this is an easy game. Look at how Sassuolo played this game. From minute 1 to minute 94, Sassuolo played with 10 players in the box. You know, and we did not have Dybala, our best player on that pitch. So, yes, we were the favourites, even without Dybala. Fully agree with everybody who says that. And yes, we had to win this game, despite not having Dybala. But the fact that we only won 1-0 doesn't mean that this is a bad game. Because, look, big teams in a process of evolution also win games like this. It's the first game under the Rossi where Roma only score 1 goal. These things will happen. The most important thing, I'm going to continue saying this now as I said this under Mourinho, the most important thing is getting the 3 points. And because we can't be winning every game 4-0, 3-0, 3-0, 4-0. You know, not even Man City does that. And Man City, you've got, look, the players that they have. So yeah, I mean, performance-wise, it wasn't amazing to watch, which is why the vlog won't come out, because I have to be very honest with you, I did not capture much. I didn't film much today, being very honest with you guys. I just didn't film much because we didn't create much. And if I had to put the vlog on, it would have been like 3 minutes long. It's definitely been under De Rossi the first game where we definitely didn't create much, and it felt like Sassuolo could equalise the game anytime soon. But that doesn't mean that it's a bad game. The performance could have been better, and we've got a lot to talk about today in a sense of performance-wise, what this means moving forward in a very complicated fixture calendar. But yeah, let's move chronologically. I do want to start off by speaking about Tammy Abraham. 287 days later, Tammy is back on the bench. Tammy was back on the bench today, available. A lot of people wanted him to get a few minutes in, but obviously it wasn't the game for that to happen because we were only leading 1-0. Had we won 3-0 at the 90th minute, then maybe Tammy would have gotten subbed on for 5 minutes. It wasn't the game to take risks. It wasn't the game to do this, and it's incredibly incredible that Tammy is back. Because just like this, you know, when nobody was expecting this, nobody was believing in Tammy being back today out of nowhere. And then the official Roma page on Instagram posted a picture of the kit in the changing room, and Tammy did get the call up, and he is on the bench. I'm very happy about this because number one, with Tammy, our attack is Champions League quality. You know, with Tammy Abraham being back, not only we have Lukaku, not only we have Azmoun, but we also have Tammy Abraham, which in my opinion is arguably, after Inter, what could possibly be the best attack in the league. And it's another reason why this team should be fighting and should have been fighting 2 months ago to get top 4. But number 2 is the most important reason of why every single Roma fan is happy, because Tammy is Tammy. Tammy's a humble guy. We all love Tammy, especially if you're my age. You know, if you're my age or even younger than me, I think Tammy means a lot to you, because Tammy was the player which made us win a Conference League. Of course, it's the team that makes us win a trophy. It's the manager. It's all of the 11 players which start a final and start a tournament. But Tammy Abraham in that season when we lifted that Conference League was just different. He was really, really good. He bagged goals for fun, and being the Conference League being the first ever major trophy that I myself saw in my lifetime, Tammy means a lot. And I'm happy to be back because Tammy is just the guy you need in your team, in your group, to bond, to unite. He's always smiling, no matter what. Even today, the game ended and Tammy was smiling. You know, it's just, very happy that Tammy's back. Now he's got this international break where obviously he didn't get a call up for England. So he will have time to train, he will have time to build and to recover that muscular mass that he lost from being out of the game because of the ACL injury, and he can grow. He can continue to grow, and he can develop his way back slowly into the starting 11. So very happy about that. Performance wasn't great. Let's not fool ourselves and say that today's performance was good, because today's performance wasn't good. Today's performance was sloppy. Today's performance was uncreative. And today's performance was probably the game under the Rossi up to now where the team resembled Mourinho's team. You know, defense over attack, miss a lot of chances in front of the goal, not score many goals, not burying your chances. So yeah, out of all the games that De Rossi's been manager for, I would pick this one as the weakest one. I would pick this one as the one where we played the worst. But just as I said before, champions, big teams also win like this. And I think there were 2 things that made this game complicated. In fact, no, 3 things made this game complicated. Number 1, I think, is how Sassuolo played. You know, Sassuolo's 19th in the league. Sassuolo are fighting to not get relegated, and every single point that they can get is golden. In a period of time, especially where Frosinone is not getting any points, Salernitana look absolutely done. Verona lost against Milan. Every single point can at the end of the season make the difference. So Sassuolo today was playing to get the draw, and they played with 11 players in their own box from minute 1 to minute 90. Their only tactic was park the bus, everyone in the box, and then give it to Loriente, who can start a counter-attack. That is what that is what Ballardini prepared the team. That's how he prepared the team and how he prepared today's game. Which made it very complicated for us, especially because we didn't have Dybala on the pitch, and he's normally the guy who resolves these games for us. Number 2 is exactly the fact that we didn't have Dybala. And number 3 is fatigue. And this is, I wouldn't say the most worrying thing, but it's the most important thing. Fatigue. Once again, we can see, compared to other games, that this game was, you can tell that the players were more tired in this game. Now, why am I saying that this is a problem? I'm saying that this is a problem because it's now a pattern. It's been a pattern last season. It was a pattern during the Conference League season. And it's a pattern this season as well, under the Rossi, that whenever we play a Thursday game in the Europa League, the following game week in the league, we don't play as good. And what is the problem behind that? The problem behind that is the fact that we are still in the Europa League, and that coming up, as well as the quarterfinals of the Europa League, we have what is probably humanly possible the most complicated fixture that a Serie A team has to play. And that's not promising. That is not promising because we are going to lose points. That's a statement, that's a fact. Come back to this little clip in a few weeks when we will play the Bolognas, the Napolis, the Atalantas, the Juventus, the Milans and the Europa League all in the space of 3 weeks. And that is going to be a problem. That will cost us points, and that ultimately is what is going to make the clinching difference in us qualifying or not in the Champions League. Because I can guarantee you, as a matter of fact, that we are going to win the game against Empoli, and that we're going to win the game against Genoa, and that we're most probably going to win the game against Lecce and the game against Udinese. Because this team doesn't scare me anymore in these little games. They know what to do. I can guarantee you that we're going to win those games. But I can also guarantee you that we're going to lose points in that stretch of games where we've got Milan, then the Derby, then Bologna, then Atalanta away, Napoli away, Juventus at home. That is a complicated calendar. And during those 3 weeks, we're going to basically decide our Champions League faith. And it's not promising because we've got Europa League fatigue coming up. Which is why last Thursday I was saying, I don't care who we get in the Europa League draw. I personally, yes, want to win the Europa League. And I've already repeated this a million of times. But I am also not going to complain if we get thrown out of Europa League and just focus on the league. Because by getting thrown out of the Europa League, we are going to share much more attention and therefore much more energies in league games. Now, please, I'm not saying that we should snub Europa League. No. We should spit blood, spit sweat in every single Europa League game that we've got left. No matter if the Milan tie will be your last one, no matter if we'll go to the semi-finals, and then no matter if we go to the final. That is our Europa League, and we need to play on both fronts. But if we do get thrown out of the Europa League, there's always a win-win situation in a sense that we can share a lot of that attention that we would have shared in Europa League games and a lot of that energy and fatigue onto top 4, which remains the priority objective number 1 this season, playing in the Champions League next season. So yeah, that period of games is going to be tough, but it is what it is. They decided that draw when Mourinho was still the manager, and you know that's the other problem. The institutions, the problems that they had with Mourinho, I don't care if people think that's a coincidence. Oh well, it's all programmed by a computer, algorithms. I don't care. That calendar, in the first leg and the second leg, having that span of games, consecutive games, was all done because the institutions hated Mourinho. And now we're going to suffer from this. But sticking on today's game, Pellegrini masterclass performance, Lord of the Rings at its best, decided the game, bossed the game, pulled that magic trick out of the magic hat like Wizard Harold. Very good performance from him. Very good performance from Mancini and very good performance from Svelor, who saved Llorente, risking that own goal and saved the team's result. Mancini with another dominant performance. 3 players I did not like today at all. Number 1 is Karsdorp. I am starting to have enough of Karsdorp. Since 2 weeks ago, I was the first one to say that Karsdorp was better than Celik. And I'm not all of a sudden gonna say that I like Chilik over I like Chilik over Karsdorp, because I'd like to give a sense of honesty to my words. But I'm also gonna say that I'm starting to get tired of Karsdorp's attitude in just not being bothered to play. That's the one player I didn't like. Second player which I didn't like, Lukaku. I don't think Lukaku should have started today because he wasn't fit. He had that hip problem. I think Azmoun had to start today. I think Azmoun was expecting to start today, and then all of a sudden De Rossi decided to start Lukaku because Lukaku was back going. Nothing against that, but Lukaku was tired, you can tell, and he wasn't fit. And I think this was Azmoun's game. And I think Azmoun starting from the very first minute today, I think he would have scored. Because he was hungry from that disallowed goal against Brighton. And I think Azmoun would have scored today. And then the third player which I didn't like today, Cristante, yes. But Cristante is always that player which matches good things to bad things. You know, whenever he has a bad thing on the game, he matches it up with a good thing. Like with a good slide tackle or with a good interception. The other player which I didn't like, and again, this is not an agenda against him, but I think we can all agree that he was shite today. Aouar. Again, I'm gonna say this again, but Aouar needs to demonstrate more, because he's got the touch and he's got the technique, but he does not use it properly. He never shoots, and he always touches the ball an excess number of times. Look, I like him. I have nothing against him. I do feel like I am throwing a lot of hate on him lately. But I want more. Can we agree? Can we all agree on this? I want more. We want more from Aouar. And I think that us wanting more from Aouar is a good thing towards him, because we believe that he has got the talent and that he's got the technique to change things around. He's just not using it properly. He's not using the way he is used to be playing properly. Maybe it's because De Rossi is starting him in a position that he's not used to. That could be a case. Maybe it's time to start Aouar in a three-man midfield instead of starting him behind the striker. That could be the case. But, you know, it's just this constant reminder of he can give more. I want to see him give more, because we know that he can give more, and he's able to do. He's able to distribute more threats into the game. So these are the players I didn't massively like. My man of the match is Pellegrini. I mean, it's simple. He decided the game. If it wasn't for Pellegrini today, that game would have ended 0-0. So props to him, because he looks different. He's the player who scored the most goals from the 20th of January after Phil Foden. I think there was something which wasn't going in the right way between Mourinho and Pellegrini. I think all of us know this. But he's back going, he's back scoring, he's back shooting from outside the box. And I think the big image of today is that hug between him and De Rossi. De Rossi continues to throw a lot of golden phrases on him, and Pellegrini continues to thank De Rossi in post-match interviews. I think there's a different bond, there's a different attention, there's also a different freedom of how he plays, from the bond that Pellegrini had with Mourinho to the bond that he has now with De Rossi. I think another thing is that De Rossi repeated this post-match, that being the captain of Roma is an honor, and it's one of the greatest jobs, let's call it, out there. But at the same time, being the captain of Roma is also the worst job ever, because it's a complicated job, because it's a job which is targeted and influenced by public opinion and the media. You know, the fact that the captain wears an armband doesn't distinguish him as a captain. What defines a good captain isn't just the fact that he wears an armband. And I think De Rossi, the fact that Pellegrini picked this armband up from Totti and De Rossi, he always felt like unknown and being placed in a context where he could never reach those levels. And he needed De Rossi himself to just, to look at his performances and tell him, you're the captain of this team, enjoy this. Make yourself loud, make yourself honored, because it's the dream of many kids being the captain of this team. And we can finally see a revitalized player. We finally see a rejuvenated player, a player who has completely reborn himself into a solid player who scores goals for fun, who provides a lot of threats into games, and who helps the team on both the leadership side and the tactical side, and that's great to see. But we move. Look, we've got an international break now. I think it's time, as I said yesterday in the match preview, to tie some knots, to just withdraw ourselves from the big picture and analyze game by game what De Rossi has given, what De Rossi has brought, and what De Rossi has done so far. I'm giving him a vote from 1 to 10. And I think that vote can only be one vote. I think that vote can only be a 9. It can't be a 10 because we lost the game, and a 10 would have been given if we would have won all games. But De Rossi only lost one game in 3 months. De Rossi only lost, 2 games counting the Brighton game, but let's not count that because it's useless. De Rossi only lost against one of the best teams in Europe. De Rossi has picked this team up from 9th and brought it to 5th, 3 points from Bologna. 3 months ago, none of us believed in Champions League. Now, complicated, but we believe in it. We're closer to it. We're putting pressure on Bologna. We're playing against Bologna in a few weeks. So, he has changed the perspective that we had about this team and about this season 3 months ago. And I think he deserves a lot of credit, a lot of criticism, a lot of praise for this. And he deserves a 9. He deserves a 9 because, look, he's done nothing yet. But at the same time, he's done so much. It's a paradox. He's achieved nothing, but at the same time, he's achieved everything. Because one of the most important things that he has achieved in these 3 months is the confirmation that next season he will be your manager. And believe it or not, in a few weeks, especially if this pattern continues like this, the Fredkins are going to offer him a contract extension. And I think he deserves it because he's shown himself and us that he can be placed in a bigger, broader scheme, in a bigger image as a manager, and bring the same empathy that he had as a player. The fans love him, and we continue. The pattern continues. The momentum continues. Now, I think this was one of the last games before a very complicated period of time. April is going to be a very complicated month. We've got an international break to rest, pick up from injuries. A lot of players are going to stay here, understand De Rossi's tactics even more. And then when we're back, we need to win away against Lecce. And then after that Lecce game, we've got Lazio, Milan in the Europa League, Udinese, Bologna, Milan, Atalanta, Napoli, and Juventus. Hell is coming up. But we are Roma fans, and we're used to hell. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end it here on this motivational note with Pellegrini, the Lord of the Rings, showing us who he is tonight. Like target. I forgot to set the like target. I want 100 likes. I want 100 likes because we won again. And, we've won again. We've won as a team and we've won as a community. Their match reaction done. So I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend, which ended with a cherry on the cake with Roma's win. Now we've got a bit of a rest to talk about transfer market updates. Other content will come, and then we'll be back going in a few weeks. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for everybody in the chat supporting this community as always. And let's enjoy this international break, and let's not detach too much from Roma, because they need our confidence, they need our love, and let's get Champions League football. Dai Roma, siamo out.